All right, let's talk about AI blog writers. They're everywhere, right? And they're promising to completely get rid of that creative grind with just one click. But are they really this amazing co-pilot for your content? Or are they just a shortcut to a bunch of generic, boring posts? Let's get into it and figure this out.
I mean, if you're a content creator, this quote, it probably hits close to home, right? That daily, relentless grind of researching, then writing, then editing, and that blinking cursor on a blank page, the constant pressure to just keep publishing, it is a serious challenge for anyone.
But what if you didn't have to do it all yourself? I mean, what if you could just hand off some of that heavy lifting, let a machine take care of the super repetitive stuff so you could finally focus on the fun parts, the big ideas? Well, that's exactly the promise of AI.
And believe me, that promise has created this boom, an absolute explosion of AI content generators. And they're all being sold as this magical one-click fix for that never-ending content treadmill.
Okay, so what are these things really? Well, an AI blog content generator is a tool that can literally take you from a blank page to a full structured blog post in, I'm talking seconds. You get the title, the headings, the intro, the body, the conclusion, the whole shebang, all from just a couple of clicks. The speed is it's mind-blowing.
And the process they advertise, it seems so simple. Step 1, toss in a few keywords. Step 2, click a button. Step 3, bam! You've got a blog post that's all ready to climb the search engine rankings. I mean, it sounds almost too good to be true because, well, you'll see.
Yeah, of course it's not quite that simple. And you gotta know, not all of these tools are the same, not by a long shot. The market is packed, so let's take a look at the different players out there and help you figure out how to choose the right co-pilot for what you're trying to do.
So the key thing to remember is specialization. They all do different things well. You've got tools like GetGenie AI, which is fantastic for SEO content because it analyzes your competitors. Then there's something like WriteSonic, which is all about marketing copy and can even learn your specific brand voice. For your creative writers, there's Novel Crafter, which helps you keep track of all your characters and world building. And for the SEO pros, Phrase is a game changer, building outlines right from what people are actually searching for. See, the big takeaway is you absolutely have to match the tool to the job. But let's be real for a second. All that marketing hype, that dream of a perfect, polished article from a single click, yeah, that is not the whole story. In fact, it's not even in the same ballpark as how people use these tools to get real results. So let's talk about how it really works. The secret sauce is something called a human-in-the-loop workflow. And trust me, this is where the actual magic happens. The point was never to replace the writer. It's about turning the writer into a super writer with a powerful new tool.
And just how powerful can that be? Take a look at this number, $15,000. That's the monthly revenue from a case study blog that went from nothing to over 15 grand a month in less than a year. The big question is, how on earth did they do it?
Get this, it was built with 90% AI-generated content. Yes, you heard me right, 90%. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, you just said it's not about one-click blogs. And you're right, because that other 10%, that small slice of human editing, that is everything. It's the most important part of the entire process. And you can see the difference right here, night and day. The raw AI draft, it's often just filler, fluffy generic intros, weird jargon that doesn't quite fit. But the final version, after a human gets their hands on it, it's completely transformed. The language is sharp and targeted. The whole thing is restructured to actually make sense and flow well. And the tone? It sounds like an actual expert wrote it. So how do you get from that messy first draft to the polished final product? Well, the author of that super successful blog had a clear system. First step, and this is crucial, he wrote a brand new introduction from scratch. AIs are just not good at intros. Second, he was ruthless about deleting the fluff. We're talking chopping out 20 to 60% of the AI's words. Third, he'd completely reorganized the article. And last, and most importantly, he'd weave in his own expertise and all that specific language that only a real expert would know. This is way more than just a quick spell check. It's a total overhaul. And this quote from Casey Botticello, the guy behind that case study, really just nails it. AI writing tools are just that, tools. It's so simple but so true. They aren't magic article machines, they're powerful tools, and if you know how to use them for the right job, the results can be absolutely incredible. But you are still the one calling the shots. Okay, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We gotta be real about the risks.
because using these tools comes with some pretty serious dangers on the path that you absolutely need to know about.
And these risks are no joke. AI can be flat out wrong. It can even make stuff up out of thin air, which people call hallucinations. It can have biases baked into it from the data it learned on. And hey, since it's trained on the internet, there's a real risk of accidental plagiarism. Not to mention, the output can often feel, well, flat, robotic. It lacks that creative spark, that human touch. You just have to go into this with your eyes wide open.
All right, this brings us to the big one. The question everyone in SEO and content is asking, is Google gonna slap my site down for using AI? And you know what? The answer, straight from Google itself, is actually pretty clear. They don't care how you make your content. They care if it's high quality and helpful. Their big motto is human first. Basically, write for people, not for robots. So if you're just cranking out spammy, low-quality junk to try and game the system, yeah, you're going to get penalized. But if you're using AI as a tool to help you create genuinely awesome, useful stuff for your audience, you're totally fine.
So what this all really points to is a future that's not about AI versus humans. No, it's about AI plus humans. It's a team effort, a collaboration.
And that's the whole point. The goal here isn't to get rid of the writer. It's to augment the writer, to give them, well, to give them superpowers.
Just look at where you save the most time. AI is an absolute beast for those early stages. The brainstorming, the research, even just getting that horrible first draft down on paper. But for the really critical final steps, the deep editing, the fact-checking, adding your own unique perspective, that's where the human is and always will be completely irreplaceable.
So what's the game plan? Here's your takeaway workflow. Go ahead, use AI as your assistant for all that upfront grunt work. But remember, you are the editor-in-chief. You are the fact-checker. You are the expert. Your job is to add all the stuff AI can't do. Your voice, your stories, your real-world experience. Because at the end of the day, your number one priority is and has to be creating something valuable for your reader.
And that really leaves us with one final big question to chew on. As these tools get more and more powerful, are we looking at the end of the writer? Or are we standing at the very beginning of something completely new, the age of the AI-augmented superwriter? I think the answer to that is really up to us.